August Clarksville Montgomery County Regional Planning Commission to order. If you would please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You made it.
All right, commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from last month. Any additions, deletions, motions?
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval and a properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. We'll turn it over to Mr. Tyndall for announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. First announcement we have tomorrow night from 6 to 8. The public, the planning commissioners, you're welcome here, and anyone else who wants to come. We will be unveiling the first about third of our zoning code rewrite work for the city and the county. This will mostly be the use tables, the bulk charts with the lot sizes, setbacks, and some of the other supplemental standards that goes along with that. So we're going to have a presentation by our consultant, and then we'll have some boards, and we'll be able to answer any questions and have conversations about the numbers that have been put forward and some of the ideas that are in those charts. And I just saw the work. I was actually just on the phone with our consultant, so going over the last minute changes to any of the charts that'll be here tomorrow, and it'll show current stuff that's changed, stuff that's not changing, so it's pretty clear about where we're going. And this is the first draft of this, so it'll be an opportunity to get some input, and we have several months to adjust along the way. We do have some deferrals today, commissioners. Under city zoning, page number 5, case Z04A 2024, which was the split question from last month that regarded the citywide electronic message center requirements. We're going to defer that a month to let another ordinance through city council this month and not confuse the current ordinance that's up at second reading with this ordinance. So Z04A will be heard next month. Your only county case this month on the next page, CZ15 2025 application of J&N Enterprises from Ag to R1 will be deferred 1 month. On the following page, variance number 8 for Milan Holdings will be deferred 1 month. Also the case below it, S25 2025 Clarksville Fencing Industrial Development Board will be deferred 1 month. On page number 8, number 15, S59 2025 application of Milan Holdings will be deferred 1 month. That's the one that's with the variance that was mentioned. Then on to page 11, site review 61 2025 application of Singletary Construction for Whitfield Center will be deferred 1 month. And on the back page, SR 63 2025 application of Blick Homes for 726 Main Street will also be deferred 1 month. Commissioners, I put that in the form of a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for deferral, properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, those previously listed items have been deferred.
I also want to let the public know, because this will be a change next month, and planning commissioners, we've listened to your ideas and concerns. We've looked at some other planning commissions around the state. We are going to move the consent agenda to the start of the agenda next month. We'll dispose of any consent agenda items like site reviews and subdivisions, and then we'll go into zoning, and then any other business that's carried or deferred from the consent agenda. So that'll be a change next month, which will help some folks who typically sit here through the zoning just to hear the consent agenda. I think you'll see a different form of an agenda next month, but it just means that the consent agenda will be at the front end. So be prepared for that. Mr. Spainhour, no, that's it.
All right, we're gonna have a public hearing today on each one of the cases, and everybody will have an opportunity, or 3 people will have an opportunity to speak in favor, 3 people will have an opportunity to speak against, and there'll also be an opportunity to rebut. Each person will get 3 minutes to speak if they wish. I would also like to remind everyone that these are recommendations coming from this body, and they will go to the city council or the county commission for final determination. That being said, I'll turn it over to Mr. Spanhauer for our first case today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the Planning Commission, thank you for the opportunity to be here. Your first application is Z31-2025. That is an application within the city limits. It's the application of Clarkland. The agent is Luke Baggett. The request is to go from R1 Single Family Residential District to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. This request encompasses just shy of 5 acres at 4.98 plus or minus. It's for a property located on the northwest corner of Ashland City Road, which is the 41A bypass, and the Denny Road intersection. The applicant's statement for this request is they feel it would be more appropriate to be classified as C5 since it's on the 41A bypass, with most of the surrounding property being C5. The plan is to provide for a retail/office space to support the needs of the community. There is historical zoning history on this. This was in front of you last year in 2024 from R1 to C5. Both the staff and the Planning Commission recommended approval, and the City Council recommended disapproval. Department comments there will follows. Traffic assessment was required by the street department, and it was reviewed. They've also made the comment the connection to Ginger Drive at further development with no connection to the bypass. There's really no other department comments of any concern. The impact would be an expansion of C5 arterial commercial for the area, which would equate to potential for increased traffic, light, and noise. Road access is Denny Road and Ginger Road. Ashland City Road would only be with access appeal through the street department and would also require TDOT approval. The street department has also indicated there's a possible sinkhole or sinkholes on the site. Future land use opinion map indicates this property would be commercial industrial hybrid. It is in the Hilldale planning area. Staff's recommendation is for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The adopted future land use opinion map identifies this parcel as commercial and industrial hybrid, and the proposed C5 highway and arterial commercial zoning classifications aligns with that future land use designation. This request is also located at an intersection along an arterial highway and part of a node of commercial activity, and is an extension of the C5 highway and arterial commercial zoning classification to both the east and west. Following the staff report, you do have 2 aerial photographs showing the property in question with the zoning. You do have the future land use opinion map there is the 3rd. And then the zoning map with the crosshatched area of request to go to C5. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them on behalf of the staff.
All right, seeing no questions from commissioners, we're going to open up the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in favor of Z31-2025?
Hello, everybody. My name is Luke Baggett. As you know, I'm here to rezone the property at 180 Denny Road from R1 to C5. If you look at the zoning map, you will see that everything around us is already commercially zoned. So we believe that our request is in line and appropriate for the area. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z31-2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z31-2025? We'll close public hearing. Commissioners?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, based on consistent with overall goals and objectives of the Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z31-2025 passes.
Commissioners, I believe it's on page 8 of your city zoning staff report. You have Z32-2025. It's the application of Ross and Ashley Morford under Armor Holdings LLC, requested to go from R4 multifamily residential district to CBD central business district, encompassing just over 3/4 of an acre at .78 plus or minus. This is for a property that's located for two parcels located on the northern frontage of Marion Street, approximately 115 feet west of the 2nd Street and Marion Street intersection. It's stated as two parcels with residential structures on site. It is in the downtown urban core planning area, and the applicant's statement for this request is, we have CBD zone parcels touching both sides of our property lines, as well as CBD across the street at Bogard Lane. We are looking to conform to the area and build multifamily units. Existing homes on property will remain. Again, that's the statement from the applicant. Following that, you do have department comments in reference to this application. Gas and Water's indicated a possible water main upgrade. Clarksville Fire Rescue has stated that their access concerns for planned future development that's related to Bogart Alley. Improvement and or adjustments would likely be requested at the development stage. Another point that I'd like to make is there is an H1 historic overlay of on this property that would remain in the Emerald Hill Historic District. The impact of this request would increase development opportunity to include multifamily residential and mixed use / commercial. Property can be accessed from both Marion Street and Bogard Lane, which is the alley referenced earlier. Historical estimates for this type of request indicate 9 units. Again, it is in the downtown urban core planning area. Future land use opinion map indicates this property would be designated as urban core. The staff's recommendation is for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The subject parcels are identified as part of the urban core on the adopted land use opinion map. The proposed CBD, which is Central Business District zoning classification, aligns with the future land use designation and supports the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan. This request will permit higher density residential development and infill, which is a recommendation of the comprehensive plan for the downtown urban core planning area. Bogart Alley improvements will be evaluated during the site review process to enhance fire department requirements and enhance overall access. The H1 historic zoning overlay remains in the existence for these parcels. Next, you have the 2 aerial overviews with the crosshatch properties in question. Then you have the future land use opinion map, the zoning map, and then if you have any questions about any of the presentation, I'll be more than happy to answer on the behalf of the staff if you have any questions.
Any questions? All right. Seeing none, we're going to open up the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in favor of Z32 2025?
Hello, everybody. My name's Ross Morford, and basically, you kind of said what I wanted to say. We just feel like it would be more conforming than what is currently zoned. Everything around us is CBD, and we also kind of to boot for the existing properties that are there. We may be able to do an easement from one of the properties next door, which would allow us to have some rear parking for those existing properties. Seems like there's usually a battle for street parking over there. It's very limited. So it'd just be a little Easter egg on it. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z32 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z32 2025? Exiting public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion for approval. This request will permit higher density residential development and infill, which is a recommendation of the comprehensive plan for the downtown urban core planning area.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z32 2025 passes.
Commissioners, Z33 2025 is the next application in the city, and I believe that starts on page 15 of your staff report. This is the application of Todd Morris It's for a total amount of acreage to be rezoned of 14.31 plus or minus, presently zoned R1 Single Family Residential District, proposed to go to R4 Multiple Family Residential District, and C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. This would be an extension of zoning classification. It's for a tract of land consisting of 4 contiguous parcels on the eastern frontage of Trenton Road, approximately 400 feet north of the Trenton Road and Fairview Lane intersection. Currently, multiple parcels or tracts with a single-family home site and a former mobile home park. This request is in the St. Bethlehem planning area, and the applicant's statement for proposed use is for a mixed-use development. You'll see the department comments that were received in reference to this application. Gas and Water's indicated a gravity sewer main extension would be required, and the street department has identified a traffic assessment being required and has also been reviewed. Access to this property would be on Trenton Road, which is a state highway, and TDOT approval would also be required. The impact of this request, the R4 portion would allow for an increase in multifamily residential density. C5 would create an opportunity for all auto-oriented commercial uses. Historical estimates for the multifamily portion is 133 multifamily units. Again, it is in the St. Bethlehem planning area. The future land use opinion map identifies this future land use as urban neighborhood. The staff's recommendation is for approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. This zoning request fronts on an arterial highway and is a logical extension of an existing node of commercial activity. The proposed C5 highway and arterial commercial district along the frontage and transition into R4 multifamily district to the rear advances the intent of the urban neighborhood designation reflected on the adopted future land use opinion map. The general recommendations for the St. Bethlehem planning area encourages multifamily residential development in proximity to commercial areas, transit, and major roadways. The next 2 slides you have are the aerial overviews of the request, showing the crosshatched area for the zone change, the future land use opinion map, and the zoning map for the area. If you have any questions for myself or the staff, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
All right, seeing no questions for commissioners, we're going to open up the public hearing on Z33 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Morris. Again, John T. does such a great job. Mr. Morris was looking at this piece of property. It's on Trent Road. It's an extension of the existing C5, who's going to do strip centers on there. Had a great layout. Once he was looking at this and working with his engineer, we identified these tracks behind it, which sometimes, there's a joke. There's land that just holds the earth together. It was landlocked tracks, doing nothing on the tax rolls and not really being used. So at that point, we reached out, we tracked down these owners, and Mr. Morris was able to acquire these additional rear pieces of property. We worked with the planning commission. We did this at the same time of a previous case that came out of here with an approval but was rejected at the city council. And then we crafted this to show you exactly what our plan is. We're going to extend the existing C5, and then behind that is an extension of the R4. So we believe this is a perfect use of the land. We're getting land back into circulation, back into use. And again, it fits the criteria of what we're supposed to do. We have existing R4, we're going to extend, we'll have the urban growth right there, then we'll go into the C5 fronting Trenton Road. We believe this to be the highest and best use of the property and believe this to be in the best interest of everyone. Ask for your support.
Are you gonna move the trailers that are sitting on there?
Yes, sir. And if you've been by there, there's a dilapidated house and trailers in a horrible state of repair or disrepair, and all that will go away.
It is terrible looking. I'm sure whatever was put there will be an awful good improvement.
It will certainly do. I can say with certainty that it will be an improvement.
Thank you, sir. All right, would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z33 2025? Seeing none, would anyone like to speak against Z33 2025? We'll exit public hearing, commissioners.
Motion for approval of the general recommendations for the St. Bethlehem planning area encourages multifamily residential development in proximity to commercial areas, transit, and major roadways.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Commissioners,
Z33, 2025 passes.
sorry, I was in a hurry, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Thank you. Commissioners, your next application is Z34 2025. It starts on page 22 of your staff report. The agent is Ligon Home Builders for the applicant, Ronnie Gano. The total acreage for this request is .41 plus or minus. Presently zoned RM1 Single Family Mobile Home Residential District. Proposed to go to R2D 2 Family Residential District. This would be an extension of the R2D zoning classification. It's for a parcel of land fronting on the western frontage of Evans Road, approximately 900 feet north of Lafayette Road. It's currently an existing single-wide mobile home lot. It is in the Lafayette Peachers Mill planning area, and the applicant's statement for this request is to build single-family affordable housing. The lot has an old, dilapidated mobile home that's not being occupied, and redevelopment will definitely improve the site. The applicant did ask me to clarify that when they state single-family affordable housing, they do mean a duplex for 2 single families, so 2 units attached. You'll see the department comments are received in reference to this application. The street department indicated sidewalks would be required. Drainage comments indicate a possible blue line stream on site. I believe there's no other comments of any concern there. We did receive some comments from the school system relative to pedestrian access that we will definitely, as always, look at on the development stage. Impact would be increased residential density, access from Evans Road. Historical lot yield is 2 units. Again, it's in the Lafayette Peachers Mill planning area with the future land use designation of mixed residential neighborhood. Staff is recommending approval. This request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The R2D 2 Family Residential District permits the development of a duplex residential structure on an individual lot. The Lafayette Peachers Mill planning area general recommendations state that it's encouraged to promote infill within neighborhoods containing aging housing stock and maintain a desirable mixture of housing types throughout the area and community. Market changes relative to the mobile home industry has limited the viability of RM1 zone property. This portion of Evans Road is a mixture of RM1 mobile home lots and multifamily units. The R2D district would not be out of character with the surrounding area. As stated earlier, a possible blue line stream exists on the parcel. Attention to this condition is required at the development stage for this parcel. And again, that's for regardless of the zoning classification. The next 2 slides are the aerial overviews of the request with the property, subject property there shown crosshatched. Then you have the future land use opinion map indicating the mixed residential neighborhood and then the overall zoning for the area. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
Seeing no questions, we'll open up the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak in favor of Z34 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z34 2025? All right, exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Motion for approval, the R2D district would not be out of character with the surrounding uses.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z34 2025 passes.
Commissioners, on page 29 of the staff report, you have Z35 2025. It's the application of Tiny Town Apartments LLC. Total acreage to be rezoned is right at 8 plus or minus acres. Presently zoned C4 Highway and Interchange District. Proposed to go to C2 General Commercial District. This is for a parcel fronting on the northern frontage of Tiny Town Road, approximately 430 feet west of the Heritage Point Drive. It's currently an undeveloped portion of a parcel shaped as a flag lot with access to Tiny Town Road. It is in the North Clarksville planning area. And the applicant's statement of proposed use is this rezone provides the opportunity to create a commercial, retail, and multifamily mixed development. We believe that C2 is a good transition buffer between the existing R4 and C4 and C5 zones. Again, that's the applicant's statement. Department comments in reference to this application. The street department has indicated that no traffic assessment is required due to the reduction of trip potential. Sidewalks would be required and specific roadway impacts will be determined at further development. Historic estimates for this parcel, if it were developed as multifamily, is 96 units. Again, it is in the North Clarksville planning area, future land use designation of mixed residential neighborhood, and the staff's recommendation for approval. This request is consistent with the goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The C2 General Commercial District aligns with the future land use designation of mixed residential neighborhood, and the C2 General Commercial District permits both commercial and multifamily residential development in a mixed-use environment or independently of one another. Next two slides are the aerial overviews of the request, shown there, the subject tract being crosshatched. Again, that is a portion of the larger tract that's directly north that has the multifamily units shown on it. Then you do have the future land use opinion map showing mixed residential neighborhood, and then the current zoning map. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them.
We're gonna go into public hearing on Z35, 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Brad Weekly, 108 Centerpoint Drive. As stated on the application, we believe that this C2 is a good transition zone going from R4 in the rear to C5 in the front. The C5 is not a portion of this parcel. The owners wanted to be able to provide both additional multifamily, but as well as commercial and retail for this parcel and the R4 connection to it. Give them the opportunity to have retail and commercial without going out onto Tiny Town Road. We'll answer any questions, and I hope for your support.
So does that mean the intent is to also include retail and commercial, which is why not an R4 request?
Exactly. Instead of extending this to all R4, they wanted to provide that commercial and retail.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z35, 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z35, 2025? We will exit public hearing. Commissioners?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, on the case number ZE35, based on the general commercial C2 district aligns with the future land use designation of mixed residential neighborhood.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Z35, 2025 passes.
Commissioners, under page 36 of your staff report, you have Z36 2025. It's the application of Virginia James, Jason Feltner Family Foundation and the Feltner Family Partnership. The agent is Larry Ricconi. The total acreage of this request encompasses just over 200 acres at 200.77 plus or minus. Presently zoned R1 Single Family Residential District, and M1 Light Industrial District, proposed to go to C3 Regional Shopping Center District, C4 Highway Interchange District, and C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. This would be an extension of zoning classifications. Property is currently located on the eastern and western frontages of Ted A. Crozier Senior Boulevard, north and south of the western intersection of Dunlop Lane and Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, and approximately 1,800 feet north of the eastern intersection of Dunlop Lane and the Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard, spanning approximately 3,600 feet of the Ted Crozier Boulevard frontage, bounded by I-24 on the northeast and a railroad track to the south. Currently an agricultural field with rolling hills and natural depressions and ponds, and it's also bisected by the thoroughfare there. This is in the St. Bethlehem planning area. The applicant's statement for this use is the zone change is the development of a commercial retail complex to bring their sought-after national commercial retail and ancillary boutique and custom. Custom dining and new dining experiences. The complex is expected to draw consumers from Kentucky and surrounding counties. This plan will generate a significant increase in sales tax revenue, property tax revenue, and employment opportunities. Again, that's the statement of request from the applicant. Department comments, you see there below. The street department has required a traffic assessment and has been reviewed and accepted. There is limited access permitted to Ted Crozier Boulevard. They also indicated there multiple sinkholes on site, which is not uncommon for a tract of this size. There are no other department comments of any concern provided there. The impact of this proposed use on the surrounding development would be a creation of a mixture of commercial opportunities, served by city services and road access of Ted Crozier Senior Boulevard and Dunlop Lane, and also additional future right-of-way connections. Again, it is in the St. Bethlehem planning area. The future land use opinion map indicates this is regional, commercial, and mixed use. The staff's recommendation is for approval. The request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed C3 Regional Shopping Center, C4 Highway Interchange District, and C5 Highway and Arterial Districts advance the intent of the regional commercial designation reflected on the adopted future land use opinion map. This zoning request provides logical extensions of the zoning districts at a regional node of commercial activity, and site-specific improvements will be required at the site plan development stage, and that includes roadway improvements. You do have the aerial photographs of the zoning request, showed the crosshatched area. There are very similar colors there for those zones. So I think I have a map here that will help you see that a little better. Then you have the future land use opinion map designations, the current zoning, and the last slide is a solid color to help you distinguish between those zoning classifications. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Questions for staff?
Mine's not so much as a question as I want to make a comment saying thank you for the creation of the additional slide, not only for today's meeting, but for Thursday's meeting to easily distinguish between the zoning requests.
You're welcome.
Anything else, commissioners? All right, we'll open up public hearing, Z36 2025. Who would like to speak in favor?
Larry Riccone, 308 South 2nd Street. This is a project that I would need more than the time allowed to espouse the virtues and the positive impact this will have on our community. I've thought about this. I've worked on this for months, and all I can think about is transformative. This is a transformative project for our area and for our community. I go back to, I had reached out to the Feltners on behalf of the county to buy this land for a school and got told, never call us again. This is our land and we are not gonna give it away and we're not gonna just do anything with it. We want to direct what happens. I got a phone call, would I be involved in this project? I said, they'll never sell that land. I've been down that road. They're like, no, they are. The developers are Old Acre McDonald. You can Google them. They were selected by the Feltner trustees. They put their faith in this developer based upon their track record and their extensive knowledge and developments of this size and of this quality. This has been around. Project Cranberry. The EDC has worked tirelessly on this. When we presented this, we came and worked with the RPC. You know, you can tell this is a thought out plan. The different zones show our commitment to a project to where we are telling you what we will do and how we will do it. We could have done C5 across the board. We talked about that, but we are actually pigeonholing ourselves. We have two different connections, and the developer will take on the extension of Spring Creek Parkway for traffic. So what are we bringing here? Can't tell you what we're bringing here right now because we have to get the zoning changed. But right now, the proposed anchor tenant is a large retail big box store. It is a store that if here, we can confidently say we project $65 million annually in sales tax revenue. We can tell you we have projected 600 direct jobs and 200 ancillary jobs for this one retailer. That's the one. We can go out in the county and build a plant and they can hire 800 people and we don't get $1 of sales tax. One anchor tenant alone we're projecting will be worth an entire factory out in the county. We're gonna have job creation. So what does this look like fully developed and why we need this to happen? How will this be transformative? Fully built out, fully developed, we will have retail that we don't have here. We are bringing restaurants that we don't have here. We're bringing ancillary products and services that we don't have here. All of those are jobs. We're showing massive job creation. We are projecting $500 million in sales tax revenue once this is fully built and developed. It is a transformative project. You are our first step, and then from here we go to the city, and then our plan is after the city, we can announce that we have an anchor tenant. The good thing for us, too, is where it's situated. We're not on Wilma. We know what Wilma is. Ted Crozier was designed for this project. With the Spring Creek addition, we can address traffic. We also have other ones. I tell you, I don't have enough time. This is my short version. City's gonna get the long version. We ask you to support this, help us take this first step.
Thank you, sir. Any
My-
questions?
My wife wanted to know if there's gonna be a Chico's there.
I can't tell you anything right now. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z36 2025? Would anyone like to speak against Z36 2025? Close public hearing, commissioners.
I make a motion for approval based on the request being consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan, as well as for the benefit that it brings to the Clarksville-Montgomery County area.
Second.
All right, we have a properly made motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Z36 2025 passes.
Commissioners, you have Z37 2025. That starts on page 44 of your staff report. It's the application of SDRA Holdings, LLC, and Yvonne Chamberlain. The agent is Alan Mosier. The request encompasses .42 plus or minus acres, so just less than a half an acre. Presently zoned R3 3-family residential district and proposed to go to C2 general commercial district. This would be an extension of that C2 zoning classification. It's identified as two parcels on the northwest corner of Thomas Street and Bradley Street intersection, has a residential structure on site in a dilapidated condition, and a portion of an aging parking lot. The applicant's statement for this request is they stated that the single-family home at 21 Thomas Street is in extreme disrepair, needs demolition in accordance with the Restoring Clarksville initiative. The surrounding use of all properties is commercial, including the portion of 30 Crossland that is included with this request, which is a parking lot. Parking lots are non-conforming use in R3, requesting to rezone 100% of the R3 area at the northwest corner of Thomas and Bradley Street intersection to C2 to bring this portion of 30 Crossland from non-conforming to conforming and eliminate this spot zoning. And to also bring it into conformance with the land use plan. Again, that's the statement from the applicant. Department comments received in reference to this. The street department has indicated that no traffic assessment would be required due to it being below the threshold of their traffic assessment policy. The impact of this proposed use on the surrounding development is the C2 zoning classification would permit mixed use, commercial, and multifamily residential and increase the development potential for these parcels. The road access is Thomas Street and Bradley Street. Historical estimates would be 5 units if it were developed fully as residential. Again, it is in the downtown urban core, future land use designation of mixed use, and the staff's recommendation is for approval, as the request is consistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. The C2 General Commercial District would increase development potential for the parcels, as it will permit multifamily residential and commercial development flexibility for parcels suitable for redevelopment. The C2 zoning request aligns with the future land use designation of mixed use. And you do have the 2 aerial photographs with the crosshatched property in question. Future land use opinion map, they're provided showing the urban core and the current zoning map of the area. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Seeing no questions, we'll open up the public hearing on Z37 2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor?
Hey everybody, thanks for being here today. Alan Moser, 1820 Business Park Drive. It's pretty straightforward. I think I wrote it all out. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, I'd appreciate your vote in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of Z 37-2025? Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against Z 37-2025? Exit public hearing, commissioners.
Motion for approval, the C2 General Commercial District would increase development potential for the parcels as it will permit multifamily residential and commercial development, flexibility for parcels suitable for redevelopment.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, Z 37-2025 passes.
Commissioners, you have the next application of Z 38-2025. It's on page 51 of your staff report, the application of Legacy Nursery and Landscape GP. Total acres to be rezoned is just shy of 13 acres at 12.82 plus or minus. Presently zoned C4 Highway Interchange District, proposed to go to C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District. This would not be an extension of the C5 zoning classification. It's for a property, tract of land at the northern terminus of Kennedy Lane. Currently a grassland area with a gravel parking lot installed on site. The applicant's statement for this request is when they purchased the property, I was informed that the existing zone would permit me to operate a nursery business. However, since I have since learned that the current zoning does not allow for such use, and I need to pursue a rezoning in order to operate my business as originally intended. Again, this is in the St. Bethlehem planning area, and that is the applicant's statement for proposed use. Department comments in reference to this application. The street department has indicated that no traffic assessment is required due to similar trip generations between the zones. Specific roadway improvements will be determined at any further development. The western boundary of this tract is also encumbered by a FEMA flood area. That's primarily just for information. There's no other department comments of any concern there. Future land use opinion map indicates that this designation of suburban neighborhood. The staff is recommending disapproval of this application. The request is inconsistent with the overall goals and objectives of the adopted Clarksville-Montgomery County Comprehensive Plan. Neither the current C4 Highway Interchange District or the proposed C5 Highway Arterial Commercial District align with the adopted future land use designation of suburban neighborhood. The C5 Highway and Arterial Commercial District permits a wide range of uses, many of which are not complementary to the single-family residential development to the south. In addition, the parcel does not have usable frontage along an arterial highway and limited commercial development potential. The applicant has stated that they wish to operate a nursery. While it would not align with the future land use designation of suburban neighborhood, the AGC Agricultural Commercial District would permit a nursery operation with a significant reduction of commercial use potential. There is a FEMA flood designation area along the western boundary. Attention to this condition would be required at the development stage of this parcel, and that would be under any zoning classification. Next two parcels show the aerial overviews of this request. Then you have the future land use designation of suburban neighborhood on the land use opinion map, and then the zoning map of the area. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to try to answer them for you.
Just real quick, you said the appropriate, for them to be a nursery, ag would be more appropriate for you? Is that what you said? I'm going to make sure, and I might misspoke.
So commercial nurseries are permitted in several zones. C5 is one, ag commercial is another one. I think as Mr. Spainhoward said, the other uses in ag commercial are more appropriate around a neighborhood versus C5 with its variety of uses.
So if they really want to, if they wanted to do a nursery, they could go ag, is what?
They could go ag commercial,
Okay.
or they could go C5, which is what they've requested at this time.
Okay, but ag 5 would be more appropriate, seeing that we have ag all around it, correct? Would that be the most?
Ag commercial
So
is,
would
in
they-
our opinion, ag commercial is more in line with the suburban neighborhood around it.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to be clear.
Anybody else? All right, we'll open up public hearing then on Z 38-2025. Would anyone like to speak in favor? All right. Seeing no one, would anyone like to speak against? We'll exit public hearing, commissioners.
Question, can we actually, since there is no one here to speak on it, I would have liked to have asked questions of them at this level. Would it be possible to defer it at this level 1 month and hopefully they'll be here? I realize they could come to the city council meeting, but my question of them would be to ask them to consider making the change to ag commercial versus carrying forward with their request as C5.
So you have your planning commissioner hat on now, so I think that'd be completely appropriate to defer it, and we'll reach out and ask them to be in attendance to answer questions next month.
Well, then I make a motion to defer this to next month's meeting.
And I have one question to go with what she's saying. Could they, in that deferral period, come back with the request of ag commercial instead of the C5?
You want to answer that?
Yes, I'll be more than happy to reach out to the representatives of the application. Sounds like there's concern that with the request potentially, and they'll have the right if they wish. There is an amendment application process. I think there's a $350 fee to do that. And we can change the application and still have it ready to act on in the deferral time. So,
Then I second her motion.
All right, we have a motion for deferral, 30 days, and a properly made second.
Discussion.
Got a little discussion left, okay? Go ahead.
I certainly respect my members here. It's just that we've deferred this several times in the past, and I just don't understand why we, keep deferring it. And I think that we go all the way back to the December?
I don't think we've deferred this before.
This is the first time you've seen a zoning case. What was deferred was a site plan. That was sort of the reason we've gotten to this point, was we said that the C4 does not comply, and you'll either have to change your use or rezone your property. And we've been working with the code department throughout this whole process on those two options. So that's how it got to today. Today is not a site plan. Today is about the zone of the property.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I believe it was myself who made the motion that other one be turned down, the site plan, so that they had a chance to properly rezone. So they're doing what we requested of them. I just don't know if it was explained to them whether they should try for Ag C or C5. Ag C makes more sense being that far off of an arterial highway at the end of a small road.
That was my question, if they have been advised for the ag commercial.
through the process, I think that's kind of been explained to say that we've recommended someone to go to an ag commercial zoning classification. I don't think that's necessarily occurred, and I'll tell you as to why. We have an adopted land use plan that's calling it a suburban neighborhood. Ag commercial does not align with suburban neighborhood either. So even with an application going to agricultural commercial, it's likely the recommendation to follow the land use plan will be for disapproval. So to be fair to the process, for an individual that's wanting to change the zone request of their property, we would tell them C5 and ag commercial likely will have the same recommendation, and they have the privilege to ask what they wish to for their property. That's what they've chosen to do with this request. We did make them aware that ag commercial was an available zoning classification. So I'll be more than happy to share the concern that's been mentioned today. They have been in their privilege not to change the application, or maybe they do. So.
Ms. Treatman?
Thank you. Can I switch my hat for just a moment and speak as a city council representative? I think this would be for their benefit to consider doing this, because I think if it does come forward as a, and I'll say this again next week, or not next month, if they were to leave it as is, I think they would have a difficulty getting a C5 approval that deep in a neighborhood. So I think it would be advantageous to their business plans to take a look at what their options are before them.
And
Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I do think we heavily discussed this internally in the staff, and I just would share, I think it's covered in the recommendation there, that while these zones don't align, we do understand what the gentleman's business plan he's presented is, and we do think there is a benefit in the reduction of commercial use potential as it relates to the neighborhood. So while the recommendation may come back negatively, we do see that there is a benefit in the reduction of uses. I do think it's fair to explain that publicly. So.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else got anything? All right, we have a motion and a properly made second to defer this for 30 days. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, deferral passes.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we have one more city case before you today. This is our case Z07-2024. This has never happened since I've been here. We've never sent a ordinance up to city council and then had it amended to come back to the planning commission. According to the state of Tennessee's land use laws, any change to a zoning text or zoning map must first be reviewed by the planning commission. So since this did materially change due to an amendment at city council upon second reading, it has to come back to planning commission within 30 days and get back to city council with another recommendation. If you look on, it's a very small amendment in terms of scale, but it did have some impact there. On page 72 and 73 of your tablet, you'll see in red text what was amended. The building standards for Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road were amended to remove the minimum and maximum building setbacks and replace it instead with according to base zoning. And then a little further down on page 76, the word shall has been replaced with should, in addition to accepting Fort Campbell Boulevard and Tiny Town Road from parking to the side rear and one double loaded aisle. So those are the only changes that were made. And honestly, today, that's what we're supposed to be considering with this. This will require a new public hearing because it did materially change, and we'll send it back to city council for their consideration. Staff report here, it was tough to come up with a recommendation. We obviously approved the first iteration of this, so our recommendation is this amendment reduces the overall effect of the original ordinance. We're not saying we're for or against these changes, and there's a lot of merit involved in here. While the bulk of the overlay ordinance still remains intact, the city council's amendment removed the proposed setback reductions, undermining a key component intended to ensure context-sensitive design. These setback standards were developed to guide redevelopment and new growth along the corridor in a manner that enhances character, pedestrian orientation, and quality. As amended, the ordinance continues to provide important design direction, but the loss of these standards represents a missed opportunity to fully achieve the original ordinance's objectives. The comprehensive plan statements for economic development state increased walkability, beautification, and character in key commercial centers and corridors, and to encourage high-quality mixed-use retail and development, and key initiatives to improve the aesthetics of the retail corridors. Participants in the zoning code rewrite process have consistently expressed a desire for streamlined development approvals that reduce complexity, delays, and costs, and this ordinance appears to run counter to those priorities. So we are going to be sending it back to City Council as it was sent to us. As a reminder as well, commissioners, because this came down from a higher government body, we cannot amend it, so we are just providing a recommendation back up to City Council after the public hearing. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have one. We, on surface parking, instead of shall, we made it should. And that makes a big, even though those words seem similar, one has no impact at all. Is this a slight recommendation? You maybe put it in the back. But shall has a very stronger, if we want to make an actual change in the look of it. I think having it from shall to should, I think it weakened that whole sentence. We might as well just not worry about parking if we're just going to make it a possibility.
I do agree with you, but we have to take what was done at the City Council into consideration. We can come back with an amendment in the future to reintroduce that back in.
Okay, thank you. I would like that.
Or reword it in a way that maybe makes all parties happy.
Anybody else? All right, we're going to open up the public hearing then on Z07-2024. Would anyone like to speak in favor? All right, seeing no one. Would anyone like to speak against Z07-2024? We'll close out public hearing, commissioners.
Move for approval based on the planning commission staff recommendation for the amendment, to go towards city council.
Well, I think that would be that'd be disapproval.
Disapproval.
We're sending it along
They-
without a recommendation if that is
They're
such
not
a thing.
recommending, so
Okay.
what do you want to do?
Not sure.
If the gentleman hasn't made it.
The amendment.
You can provide just that you are sending it back. You don't have to send necessarily a recommendation for this
I
situation.
wouldn't think we need to approve it, but
Ms. Freeman?
I'm gonna let him finish and then.
what will help you?
Me, I think I did not vote in favor of the amendments. However, I do think the city council, by majority, did vote in favor of the amendments that were made. I think something is better than nothing, and as was stated, we could look at things down the road that could amend it, that might make things better in the future, but at this point in time, this is what we have before us. This is the only opportunity we have. So for me, if I were the one making the motion, I would be making a motion for approval. And I can either do that, or I can let you do that however you so choose.
I'll make a motion to table it indefinitely.
There you go.
We don't have,
Second.
You
that's
don't have-
not an option, unfortunately.
It's still gonna come forward regardless.
If we don't make any recommendation, it'll automatically go back to city council within 30 days.
Well, why don't we just not make a recommendation?
Why not even vote on it?
I still make a motion for approval. I'd already put that out there.
She did.
So I either get a second or no second.
Oh, I didn't hear your motion, I'm sorry.
I did. I gave him and he didn't take it, and I said I make a motion for approval.
Okay, so we have a motion. I'm not seeing a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Motion fails.
You confused me. We got it.
So technically, it still goes to the city, just without our recommendation.
Without a recommendation,
Correct.
yes. Yeah, and I'll just, the city attorney and I have had a lot of discussions since this hasn't happened, and it's not frequent that we're gonna send up an ordinance that gets amended and sent back. When the planning commission initiates a resolution or an ordinance, or we're responding to a city council where they say, prepare an ordinance, we can table things here, we can adjust it, we can amend it all day long, because you're in what would be considered the workshop phase of it. But as soon as it goes to city council and comes back, you're in just simply a review mode, and it's a yes or no recommendation at this point. So those are acceptable. We could not further amendment, because you could get into this cycle where we amend it back up, they amend it back down, and you never get anywhere. So these are the wheels of government. We saw it work today. So as we go forward, this is bound to come up from time to time again, and I expect this will probably happen when the zoning code rewrite comes in. I'm sure it'll be one or two things that are wanting to be amended, and I guess we're glad we went through this exercise now to understand the process better as it applies to the city and the county.
I don't like exercising.
And a little sidebar on this too. If it was a county commission ordinance, you do have the opportunity to make further amendments, but in the state law, the cities are restricted to just an approval or disapproval.
Point of order, we don't have ordinances. We have resolutions.
Good point, resolutions. Thank you for the civics lesson.
Yes, sir.
All right, we are completed with our city zoning at this time. Our county case was deferred. We will go over to the subdivisions. Mr. Parker, do we have only one case today? On
Yes, sir.
subdivisions? All right, let's just read that one case into the record and just see if anyone is here to speak on it, and then we can just vote on it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tyndall. Commissioners, our subdivision case is case number S36, 2025. The applicant is David Phillips. It is a request for preliminary plat approval of Cherry Wells Station. This was formerly called Ireland Way Commercial. The location is at the southeast corner of Highway 79 and Ireland Way. It's approximately 3.89 acres. It is in the PGA area of the growth plan, zone C5 with 5 lots proposed. The staff recommendation is for approval, subject to the 4 conditions listed. Thank you.
We can do public hearing? Does anyone like to speak in favor of this? S36, 2025? Anyone here? This is consent agenda.
Yeah,
But there's only
when we
one
only
case.
have one case on the consent, it's hard to have a consent
It makes
agenda
it
with
quick,
one
yeah.
case.
Might as well come on up.
You got 10 words.
Houston Smith, 2971 International Boulevard, here representing the owner. Just asking for approval.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners?
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for approval, properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
This was a consent. on
It
this
was,
one.
but there was only
And
one
nobody
case.
pulled, I
Yeah.
know that. Okay.
A little weird.
As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we're gonna combine these subdivisions and the site plans into one consent agenda at the start of the meeting for the next agenda. We didn't want to make that change mid-month without alerting people. All right, Mr. Parker, would you read the site plans into the record, and I'll read this for the public. All items in this portion of the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the staff of the Regional Planning Commission and may be approved in one motion. However, a member of the audience, commission, or staff may request that an item be removed for separate consideration.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tyndall. Case number SR 34-2025. The applicant is Casey's General Store. Property is located at 125 Sango Drive. The proposed use is a convenience store with fuel sales, 1.82 acres plus or minus. This is in the UGB area of the growth plan, Zone C5. Recommendation is for approval, subject to the 5 conditions listed. Case number SR 51-2025. Applicant is David Phillips. The development is Cherrywell Station Retail, formerly Ireland Way Retail. This is approximately 2.05 acres in the PGA area of the growth plan, Zone C5. Recommendation is for approval, subject to the 5 conditions listed. Case number SR 53-2025. Applicant is Nita Sadik. The development is Sadik Building at 1362 Fort Campbell Boulevard. This is approximately 0.64 acres, Zone C5. Recommendation is for approval, subject to the 5 conditions listed. Case number SR 60. Applicant is Iron Horse Realty LLC. The development is Appleton Harley Davidson Service Center at 2501 Highway 41A bypass. The proposed use is a motorcycle service center, 5.076 plus or minus acres in the city. The zoning is C5. Recommendation is for approval, subject to the 5 conditions listed. And last case is case number SR 62-2025. The applicant is David Phillips. That is Cherry Branch Storage, located at 4782 Dover Road. The proposed use is storage units, 2.50 acres plus or minus. That is in the rural area of the growth plan. Property is zone C5, and the recommendation is for approval, subject to the 4 conditions listed. Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, staff is not pulling anything from the consent agenda. Commissioners, anything to pull?
I don't have anything to pull. I just need to register an abstention from SR 34-2025.
Audience, any to pull from this for separate consideration? Seeing no one. All right, Commissioners, we have the consent agenda in front of you. No items pulled.
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consent agenda passes on site reviews.
All right. On to other business. We have 3 items of other business today. The first item is the monthly profit and loss statement for the month of July 2025. I'll try to answer any questions and ask for your approval.
I make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, P&L is approved.
The second item there on page 5 and 6 of the tablets is replacing a page on the employee handbook involving retirement compensation. After this year's budget, the county and city asked us to consider future employees being put on the TCRS, or Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, hybrid plan instead of the legacy program that the Planning Commission's been operating under for quite a while. So in the red text there, you can see we've added a couple sentences that any employee hired after July 1st, 2025 will participate in the hybrid system. That just means they will contribute 5% of their gross salary that's into the 5% into the plan. of their gross salary. So that complies with both city and county policies for their retirement programs, and we're just doing this to match their systems at their request. We will need a motion on this.
Motion for approval.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Are you sure ours, that the cities is on the hybrid and not the legacy? Because if I'm almost positive we're on the legacy plan. I was looking to a fellow council member in the back, but I was almost positive we were on the legacy plan. The change that the city had made was that they no longer did the 100%, but ours is not part of the 401k plan.
Okay. It is contributory, I will say that. It may not be the 401 versus the TCRS, but you contribute 5%, the county has contributed 5%. We are just falling in line with that 5%. It may be a different bucket, for lack of a better word. But we've never been contributory until now.
Okay, well, and I was only asking because it was specific in here to state that they would now be on the hybrid retirement plan.
Should we push it to next month?
If
or-
you need some more explanation, I mean, I can get Ronnie down next month to explain it. But
We'll just
I
make
mean,
sure all the
that's-
words, the verbiage is right, I guess.
That's up to you.
Yep.
Doesn't change anything on the city side, and I'm just,
this isn't changing anything for the city or county. It's just our retirement policy.
okay. I don't take issue with that. I was just verifying, because like I said, based off what you said and going from the legacy to the hybrid.
Y'all can defer it a month. I'm not hiring anyone right
It's
now.
not
So
that-
this doesn't matter.
Motion to defer for 1 month.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral.
Second.
And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, deferral passes.
And then finally, I guess I'll turn this over to Mr. Parker. We do have a bond release for a letter of credit.
Sure. Item C under other business, letter of credit release from Milam Development, Crossland Avenue. In your other business tab, if you'll go to page 7, you'll see the letter provided from the engineer indicating that this private alley was built to the standards that are required in the subdivision regulation. The following page 8 is the approved plat. And the next 2 pages are pictures from the site that show that the private alley has been constructed. So again, just asking for the official letter of credit release.
Motion for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion properly made second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, credit release is good.
Okay, that concludes our business today.
I will take a motion. Oh, no, we got,
Public
Yeah.
comment.
we're going to open up for public comment. Would anyone like to address the commissioners? All right, seeing no one, can I get a motion?
Motion
Motion.
to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're out of here.